اللهم صل على محمد وآل Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to start with this dua from Imam Al-Abidin alayhi salam لدخول شهر رمضان المبارك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لحمده وجعلنا من أهله لنكون لإحسانه من الشاكرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآله وألهمنا معرفة فضله وإجلال حرمته وأعنا على صيامه بكف الجوارح عن معاصيك ووفقنا فيه لأن نصل أرحامنا بالبر والصلة وأن نتعاهد جيراننا بالإفضال والعطية وأن نخلص أموالنا من التبعات وأن نطهرها بإخراج الزكوات وأن نراجع من هاجرنا وننصف من ظلمنا ونسالم من عادانا وزين أوقاته بطاعتنا لك وأعنا في نهاره على صيامه وفي ليله على الصلاة والتضرع إليك والخشوع لك حتى لا يشهد نهاره علينا بغفلة ولا ليله بتفريط إنك فعال لما تريد يا أرحم الراحمين. Very beautiful and blessing prayer of Imam Al-Abidin to recite it in the beginning of this holy month of Ramadan, asking the Lord to help us to understand the value of the month of Ramadan and take this opportunity to improve our acts of kindness to our family, to our relatives, even to reach out to those people who don't understand us or even hate us, and provide peace and forgiveness and patience during this holy month of Ramadan, and taking advantage of every moment in the night and the day, the opportunity, the season of Siyam and fasting, So we make sure that we don't miss any part of this month with our negligence, and using this holy month of Ramadan with humbleness towards our Lord and peace and prayer. I know this Ramadan, like any other Ramadan, in the beginning we have a little controversy about the exact start of the month. Now, whether it's tomorrow, Tuesday, or the day after tomorrow, Wednesday. You already know that majority of Muslim countries, they already announced that tomorrow is the first day of their fasting. We have also a statement from the office of Marhum Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Hussein Fadlullah. They determined that tomorrow, based on Ma'lumat Falakiyya and also the Ru'yatul Hilal in certain parts of the world, that was the base of decision that if the moon was seen in any part of this world that shares with us at least part of the night, then that is also hujjah for us. So that is considered as istihlal, ru'yatul qamar. And it doesn't matter if you see it with the naked eyes or through the instruments and telescopes and other tools and technology. But of course, we are waiting at this moment that it is like 9:15 Eastern time, and in California, in couple of hours, at the time of sunset in California, there is a possibility of sighting the moon over there. Then based on Ru'yatul Qamar, the sighting of moon observation and seeing the moon in one area, based on the jurisprudence from Marhum Ayatollah Khou'i and Marhum Sayyid Fadlullah and some other maraja, then that is okay for us. Then tomorrow is also the first day of Ramadan for everyone. But then we have some maraja like Ayatollah al-Udma Sayyid Sistani, that his fatwa is based on Wahdatul Ufuq, the unity of horizon. That means that even if the moon is seen in California tonight, then the beginning of Ramadan is tomorrow only for people who live in California or the neighboring states. So it's not for people, for example, in Michigan or in DC or New York, because we don't share the same horizon with California. So this is really an old discussion of how we deal with this matter of sumu لرؤيته وأفطروا لرؤيته, the meaning of الرؤية البصرية, and if رؤية البصرية is it عين المجردة أو عين المسلحة, whether you see it with the naked eyes or it is okay to observe the moon also with armed eyes, like with telescope and other instruments of available instruments. So either way, to get out of this confusion, If you have this doubt that, for example, tomorrow, Tuesday, is Yom Shak, and you are not sure that it is the last day of Sha'ban or the first day of Ramadan, in this case that you have this doubt, you can still fast as Yawm Shak, the day of doubt, that you are not sure whether it is the beginning of Ramadan or not. You can fast with the intention of making a fast that probably you missed in the past, or even just a general fast, so mustahab, like just a general fast with the intention of fasting for getting close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and qasd al-taqarrub, qasd al-qurba. And then if later on you were convinced that tomorrow was really the first day of Ramadan, then you save your days and you already fasting. And if that didn't happen and Wednesday was the first day of Ramadan, then still you fasted one day, no problem. Whether you made a fast that you missed in the past, you cover that, or even a Sawm Mustahab. So either way, you are not losing anything if tomorrow you fast because you are not sure, either way. And it is a sign of solidarity. I know that there are the Sunni mosque that they started their Salat Taraweeh just tonight, and the major Muslim organizations in United States, they already announced that tomorrow is the first day of Ramadan. But because we have this technical ikhtilaf al-fatawa, the diversity in the rules and jurisprudence of Ru'yat al-Hilal, if there is a doubt in your mind, still it is okay to fast tomorrow, and either way is a win-win situation. The fast starts from dawn and ends in dusk. That means that, for example, tomorrow, Tuesday, we start the imsak, start fasting from like 5:20 in the morning, and we do the iftar tomorrow around 8:30 in the evening. What is the definition of fasting? That is an imsak min al-akl, min al-shurb. So that means that during those hours, no eating, no drinking, no intercourse, no sexual activities. And based on majority of the fatwas, not even smoking during fasting. This is the definition of fast. I'm answering some of the questions that either they are frequently asked, or I received during the last couple of days that some people ask me. So I just address some of these questions. And who are the ones who are obligated to fast during the holy month of Ramadan? Obviously, any Muslim who is healthy, both physically and also mentally, because ليس على المجنون حرج. If somebody is sound in physical form and also mentally, and this person is at home, is not traveling, then it's a wajib for this person, man or woman, who are adults and healthy, they must fast. Now, there are people who are exceptions, and they don't have to fast, or they shouldn't fast. elderly who are um, worried of their health and is too tough for them because of their age. It's very hard for them to fast, or there is a risk for their health, so they shouldn't fast, except they are okay and they feel that fasting is not going to harm them. Somebody is 80 years old, 85 years old, whatever, but is very healthy, then that's fine. This person that fast doesn't harm his or her health must fast. But people who are traveling, even if they are adults and healthy and happy and everything is okay, but you are traveling, you cannot fast. Except the traveling for certain people that their job is traveling, somebody like a drivers or a pilots that that is their job, then they must fast. If they are healthy and they're okay, they must fast. Or sometimes people who are kathiru safar, like if a person travels like 2-3 times a month, so it's considered as kathiru safar. That means this person travels a lot, like every 10 days he is traveling or she's traveling, then this person must fast as well. So if traveling is part of your job, or traveling is not part of your job, but you just travel a lot, in this case you should fast. Another case in traveling is that if you are leaving your town during the holy month of Ramadan in the afternoon, although you are traveling, but since you depart in the afternoon, then still you have to fast. But if you are traveling in the morning before noontime and you get out of town by then of course you break your fast. Other groups that they shouldn't fast, the ladies, that they may go through their monthly period or days after their delivery, that they are going through that situation, then they shouldn't fast. Obviously, the ladies that they are pregnant or they are nursing their babies, if fasting, if there is a fear that fasting may harm her or her baby, then of course they shouldn't fast, and they would make it up later on when they are ready for fast later on before the next Ramadan. They can fast. If there are people that is very hard for them, I mean their nature, their body is in a situation that they get too thirsty, that they cannot tolerate it. I mean that makes sense in areas that the weather is too hot and the days are too long and people are working under the sun. For those situations, of course, they are permitted to drink water to the extent that they can survive, and they continue with that, but بحد الكفاية, to the point of necessity, that they take care of themselves and they survive, they can fast. And they can drink, but at the same time continue their fasting. They just get some water and some food that it is enough that they can tolerate it, but then they limit that. It's not that they can like have absolute freedom of eating and drinking, because no, to the point that really they need it and is necessary. The same situation is for the new adults, like for the girls and boys that, and especially for the girl, if we consider the age of puberty for girls, 9 years, that had the taklif, that the bulugh for girls is 9 years, then it's very hard. Even if we go with some fatwas that the taklif al-banat, the time for bulugh, the puberty of a girl, that she has to start her prayer and fasting, even if you go for 12 years or 13 years old, still there are some girls of that age that's very, very hard for them to fast. So in that case, they can make the qada, they can cover this fasting later on when they go through older age and they are able, they can do it later on. If they are not able to do it now, that is fine. If there are people who are sick during the holy month of Ramadan, لَيْسَ عَلَى الْمَرِيضِ حَرَجْ, no reason. As a matter of fact, it's haram. Because I know some people say, I'm sick, but I still want to fast. Well, brother, sister, it's not that you are not doing following a commandment here. You are not doing something wajib. As a matter of fact, you are doing something haram. Because if you are sick and fasting is bad for you, so لا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة. You cannot hurt yourself. That is a haram thing. I receive lots of questions this day about vaccination as we go through this virus war, and we should increase our prayer for winning, for victory over this dirty virus of COVID-19. Vaccination that we provided even today at the House of Wisdom. We had lots of people who stopped by. They already registered and they came for vaccination. And we are going to continue, hopefully, a weekly vaccination at the House of Wisdom, even during the Ramadan. Is it okay to do vaccination when we are fasting? Yes, there is no problem. Although we are trying to have it like later in the afternoon, that we provide this option that for some people who want to do it after iftar, they would have this opportunity, but it's okay to fast and have the vaccine. What about the dental operation? No problem. I mean, if there is something that's only in the area of the mouth and cleaning or taking a tooth or any dental operation, in general, it should be okay. Bleeding, this is another question, that what if my body, my hand, or some bleeding in my body started? The bleeding doesn't actually cancel our fast, so that is not problem. Can we take medicine when we are sick? Well, if you are sick, you shouldn't fast to begin with, but no, we cannot. For example, somebody has blood pressure or some other daily medication, you cannot take things with your mouth. That is different from vaccination. That you lose your fast if you take medicine by your mouth. Another important things about fasting is to make niyyah. Like every morning you have this in your mind. You don't have to say it, you don't have to pronounce it, but in your mind you have intention that you are going to fast today. Actually, that's the best to do one general niyyah intention in the beginning of the month of Ramadan that, oh God, I am planning with the tawfiq, with grace from you, that I'm going to fast during this holy month of Ramadan. So you make one general intention for the whole month, because intention al-a'mal bin-niyat. If somebody is fasting during Ramadan, but in the middle of the day makes an intention to break his fast or her fast, even if later on he does not eat, does not drink, but the fact that this person made the intention to break his fast is broken. That doesn't mean that he can go and eat and drink, but it means that later on this person must make up for one day just because he made or she made an intention to break the fast. Another question was that if somebody was sick during Ramadan, like last Ramadan, and his illness or her illness lasted till this Ramadan, what this person is supposed to do? Well, because he was sick during the whole time, there is no fast for this person. The only thing is a kafara saghira, mutta'am, just to feed one poor person. That is a sadaqah, a charity, instead of doing the fast. Of course, if somebody was sick and after Ramadan he was okay, she was okay, able to fast, but out of laziness or whatever reason did not make up the fast, then still this person has to fast after this Ramadan. In addition to a penalty, and that's also a charity to feed a poor person because he didn't do it on time, so there is a penalty for that. If somebody in the morning, this is another question, that a person doesn't know if it is time of imsak, still can eat and drink, or is already morning. Well, if this person continued eating and drinking and later on he realized that he did it after the adhan, then there is a qada. This person has to make this fast another time after Ramadan. That means that he would avoid eating and drinking on that day, and later on after Ramadan again fast, because he didn't do the investigation. Because if you don't know if it is already morning or not, if you pass the time of imsak, so you need to do investigation. If you did investigation and you realize that you still have time, but it was a mistake, that means that you did your job, but later on you noticed that you were mistaken. In this case, you don't have to make the qada, because at least you did your job, but you got wrong information, so you are innocent in this situation and you don't have to. There are so many other questions that if somebody throw up during the fasting, if it is like out of control, then your fast is good. Even about food and drink and any other things, sometimes people, they forget that I'm fasting. As usual, you go to the kitchen, you forget that you are fasting, and you drink water or you pick up something and eat, and you realize that, wow, I'm fasting, I forgot. Well, stop it right away, don't continue. So if you stop it right away, so your fast for that day is okay, because you forgot. As human beings, we forgot. So there are so many questions that have to do with the technicality of the holy month of Ramadan. And please feel free to put your questions on our Facebook, House of Wisdom, or my personal Facebook, or email it to us, to me, or House of Wisdom, or text it through WhatsApp, any kind of message, calling me, and even sometime if I was busy and didn't answer your phone, please leave a message, and certainly I would call you back if you had any fiqh question about fasting during holy month of Ramadan. Something that we have to be very careful about Ramadan is not just the technicality and the quality of what we do, but really the spirit of Ramadan and the quality of our actions and our prayer of this شهر الصيام وشهر القيام وشهر التقوى وشهر التقرب إلى الله شهر التوبة والاستغفار. Really, this is an amazing area that we have time for so much reflection, so much recitation of the Holy Quran, شهر رمضان, شهر ربيع القرآن, نزول القرآن, ربيع القرآن, reading the Quran, recitation of the Quran. I mean, it's good to have a Khatmul Quran, but as I said, quality more important than quantity. If you recite just a few chapters of the Quran or memorize few chapters of the Quran during Ramadan and reflect on those verses and on chapters, is better than we recite the whole Quran without reflecting, without understanding, without thinking about the message of the Quran and the meaning of the Quran. So Rabi'ul Quran, don't forget it. The nights of power in the holy month of Ramadan, make sure you don't miss the opportunity of those nights of power. I know because of this corona we cannot have that many of those public iftar, but inshallah you enjoy an iftar with your family in a peaceful, in your house, and family and faithful atmosphere. You can have your futur, you break your fast in a friendly and family atmosphere. I know that we have some food every night after the service at the Islamic House of Wisdom. We have some, but it isn't boxed and just to pick up and go after the service. We don't have it like having like a reception to sit down next to each other, because we want to make sure that still we have our masks, still we have our social distances, still we don't shake hands, we don't hug, but sitting next to one another with social distance and going through this recitation of prayers and supplications and reflection on the holy month of Ramadan, and doing prayer for our families, doing prayer for those who are suffering from corona, doing prayers for people who are suffering from wars and violence and terrorism. Poverty is a horrible situation now in certain parts of the world, in Middle East, in Africa, the situation in Syria, in Yemen, in Afghanistan, in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Iran, in Iraq, in many of those countries that they have been suffering from imposed wars and ISIS and the enemies of humanity, the enemies of justice, the enemies of God, the enemies of truth, the enemies of freedom and democracy. There are so much mess and there are so much problems that make sure that in Ramadan we are not just selfish, that we just pray for ourselves, but we have everybody in our prayer. That is very, very important. There is a hadith that telling us, and this hadith from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, that Ramadan is not only about physical fasting. As I explained today, I had an interview with WWJ, and I explained over there that it is more about the spiritual fasting than just physical fasting. And Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, إن الصيام ليس من الطعام والشراب وحده. It is not just we stop eating and drinking only. فإذا صمتم فاحفظوا ألسنتكم من الكذب. Make sure that your tongue is fasting. وغضوا أبصاركم, your eyes under control. ولا تنازعوا, don't have too much dispute, and ولا تحاسدوا, jealousy. ولا تغتابوا, stop backbiting. ولا تباشروا, ولا تغاضبوا, control your anger. ولا تسابوا, control your language from being an ugly and cursing language all the time. ولا تجادلوا, avoid unnecessary argumentations. ولا تتأذوا, don't bother. ولا تظلموا, don't oppress, don't be exercising injustice to anybody. ولا تسافهوا, avoid from foolishness. ولا تذاجروا, and doing like dissatisfaction, making people unhappy. ولا تغفلوا عن ذكر الله, don't forget Allah, don't be negligent to your Lord during this holy month of Ramadan, which is a month of God and month of people. ولا تغفلوا عن الصلوات, don't miss your prayer. It's not that we just fast but we forget about our prayer. Then Imam said, وألزموا الصمت والسكوت والحلم والصبر والصدق. Have your tranquility, your hudu, your quietness, silence, your wisdom, your patience, your honest language, ومجانبة الأشرار, and stay away from ashar, from evil, from satanic things, and make sure that you enjoy the happiness of the holy month of Ramadan. That Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, للصائم فرحتان, فرحة عند إفطاره وفرحة يوم يلقى ربه. The time like tomorrow night, almost this time, a little bit earlier, around like 8:30, when we sit down at the table with our family and we break our fast. That is really an enjoyable time, that you have your tea and you have some date or whatever that you like of the food, and drink that farha, that happiness, that joy at the time of iftar. But something deeper, something higher happiness is the happiness of yawma yalqa rabbah, the moment that this faithful fasting meeting with Allah, the day of appointment with Allah, that is really a day of higher happiness, that inshallah we enjoy that. So these are some technicality. As I said, make sure that tomorrow before the time of imsak, you floss your teeth, brush your teeth, making sure that there is no stuff between the teeth, because that may get problematic during the fasting, that if there are still some food and some particles between our teeth, and we intentionally take it down, then we lose our fasting. So it's very important that we are careful about our teeth, before the time of imsak, of flossing and brushing our teeth, and make sure that we are clean. If somebody had any sexual activities in before suhoor, before iftar, make sure that you make a ghusl, total shower. That is wajib, because if somebody is in position of janaba, if a person is junub and didn't make a ghusl, total washing of the body, washing the head and the right side of the body and the left side of the body, and complete shower, then is a problem for the fasting. We lose our fast if we enter fasting and still in the state of janaba. So the cleanliness is very, very important during this holy month of Ramadan. Last year, our service in Ramadan was only virtual, but inshallah this year we at the Islamic House of Wisdom are going to have our services both virtual and personal. So we hope to see everyone tomorrow no later than 10 p.m. Dua al-Iftitah will be recited before, but the lecture in person will start exactly at 10 p.m. Tomorrow night. We have great young English public speakers, Samad Sayyid Saleh Al-Qazwini and Dr. Mahdi Elahi and some other speakers. They are going to be our speakers during the holy month of Ramadan. And the auditorium is big. It's for almost 1,000 people. So no matter that how we meet in person, we have enough space in auditorium and Mahdi Hall that we can sit like a little bit distant from one another, but still there is a space for everyone. Bring your children. It's very, very important that, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he was even leading the prayer, his grandson, Hassan and Hussein, they were jumping over the back of the Prophet, and he is leading the prayer, and he never stopped them to send us a message that خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ masjid. Bring your children and also your charity to the mosque. Support the services. Inshallah, we'll continue with our food distribution service, with vaccination. After Ramadan, we are going to have a blood donation again. And every night, especially for the kids that they go to the class, Brother Ihsan Karimi, he will deal in the classes with the kids from 10 o'clock. So the families, the parents, you go to auditorium and you would have your children in the classes, and they learn a lot, they socialize, and at the end they have things that usually the kids, they like it, hot dogs and pizza and some other food that the kids love it. They can pick it up and take it home and enjoy it later on. So we are looking forward to see you tomorrow night, Tuesday night, at no later than 10 o'clock. Inshallah, we start sharp on time. But if you come earlier, like 20 minutes before, like 20 before 10 o'clock, you can enjoy listening to Dua al-Iftitah as well. We wish everyone a great holy month of Ramadan, happy and healthy and peaceful and patient and beautiful and blessing holy month of Ramadan for everyone. And I would like to end with Surah Al-Fatiha. This Surah Al-Fatiha is number one for shifa, for fast recovery of those who are suffering from COVID-19. And unfortunately, this is on rise recently, especially in Michigan. and also the credit and the spirit of this prayer for those who lost their lives, and a prayer for asking assistance from our Lord to help us during the holy month of Ramadan, that we are able to fast, we are able to pray, and praying also for peace, that enough war and craziness and crime and hatred and racism and occupation and operation against the innocent. We want to see peace in this Ramadan in Yemen, in Afghanistan, in Syria, in Iraq, in every country in the Middle East and in Africa. So this Surah Al-Fatiha, this powerful prayer that we provided in all the situation, when we are happy, when we are sad, when somebody is born, somebody is dead, time of pain, time of pleasure, always we recite this Surah Al-Fatiha, a very powerful prayer. Let us welcome the holy month of Ramadan with this opening chapter of the Holy Quran. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين الحمد لله رب العالمين آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. Good night everyone.